Grow, start acting, focus only on changing your life. Stoic wisdom. The wake-up call. Picture this moment. You're scrolling through your phone at 2 a.m., watching other people live the life you dream about. Your chest tightens with that familiar weight of regret. Another day passed, another opportunity missed, another promise to yourself broken. You tell yourself tomorrow will be different, but deep down, you know it won't be. Not unless something fundamental changes. Not unless you change. This isn't just another motivational video. This is your intervention. This is the moment where ancient wisdom meets your modern struggle, where 2,000 years of tested philosophy collides with your immediate need for transformation. The Stoics didn't just theorize about life. They lived through plagues, wars, exile, and loss. They built an unshakable framework for human excellence that has survived millennia because it works. And today, you're going to learn how to wield this power to completely revolutionize your existence. Marcus Aurelius wrote his Meditations while leading an empire and fighting wars on the frontier. Epictetus developed his philosophy while enslaved, his leg deliberately broken by his master. Seneca maintained his principles while navigating the deadly politics of Nero's court. These weren't men sitting in ivory towers. They were warriors of the mind, architects of unbreakable character, masters of their own fate, despite circumstances that would crush most modern people. What you're about to discover isn't feel-good platitudes or empty affirmations. This is battle-tested wisdom that has forged emperors, freed slaves internally before they were freed physically, and provided the blueprint for every major breakthrough in cognitive behavioral therapy. This is the philosophy that Admiral James Stockdale credited with surviving 7 years of torture in Vietnamese prison camps. This is the framework that guides titans of industry, elite athletes, and the most resilient minds of our generation. But here's what nobody tells you about Stoicism. It's not about suppressing emotions or becoming a robot. It's about becoming so psychologically powerful that external events lose their ability to control your internal state. It's about developing such clarity of purpose that distractions become irrelevant. It's about building such strength of character that obstacles become opportunities. The Stoics understood something that modern society has forgotten: that true power doesn't come from controlling the world around you, but from absolute mastery of the world within you. The prison you don't see right now, you're living in a prison. Not one made of bars and concrete, but one constructed from your own thoughts, habits, and reactions. Every time you check social media compulsively, you're rattling your chains. Every time you procrastinate on what matters, you're reinforcing the walls. Every time you let someone else's opinion dictate your mood, you're handing them the keys to your cell. The modern world has perfected the art of invisible imprisonment. We're addicted to comfort, enslaved by notifications, paralyzed by infinite options. We have more freedom than any generation in history, yet we feel more trapped than ever. We have access to all human knowledge, yet we're more confused about how to live. We can connect with anyone instantly, yet we're lonelier than our ancestors who lived in small villages. This isn't an accident. Every app on your phone is engineered to be addictive. Every news headline is crafted to trigger fear or outrage. Every advertisement is designed to make you feel incomplete. You're not struggling because you're weak. You're struggling because you're fighting against billions of dollars in psychological manipulation without any defense. It's like going to war naked while your enemies have armor and weapons. The Stoics faced their own versions of these challenges. Rome was full of distractions: gladiator games, elaborate banquets, political intrigue, social climbing. The temptations were different, but the human psychology was the same. They recognized that the first step to freedom isn't breaking out of prison. It's recognizing that you're in one. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Think about that. The emperor of Rome, who could command legions and reshape nations, identified the real battlefield as internal. He understood that all external power is temporary and ultimately illusory. The only empire worth conquering is the one between your ears. The power of now. Stop waiting. This is the first and most critical lesson of Stoic action. Every moment you delay is a moment you'll never recover. The Stoics had a phrase for this: memento mori. Remember you will die. Not as a morbid obsession, but as the ultimate motivator. Death is the final deadline, the one appointment you cannot reschedule, the ultimate accountability partner. Seneca practiced poverty 1 day a week, sleeping on the floor and eating basic food, not as punishment but as preparation. He wanted to know that if he lost everything, he would still be okay. He wrote, "Every new thing excites the mind, but a mind that seeks truth turns from the new and seeks the old." He understood that novelty is a distraction, that the fundamentals of a good life haven't changed in thousands of years. But here's where most people misunderstand Stoicism. It's not about accepting whatever happens passively. It's about accepting what has already happened while taking massive action to influence what hasn't happened yet. The Stoics were incredibly productive, ambitious people. Marcus Aurelius didn't just philosophize. He led military campaigns, reformed laws, and managed a vast empire. Seneca didn't just write. He was one of the wealthiest men in Rome, a successful playwright and advisor to the emperor. The difference between Stoic action and frantic activity is intention. Every action should align with your principles. Every decision should move you toward virtue. Every moment should be lived with full presence and purpose. This isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters with complete commitment. Think about your typical day. How much of it is spent in reaction mode, responding to emails, scrolling through feeds, handling urgent tasks that aren't important? The Stoics would call this slavery, not to another person, but to circumstances. You've abdicated your agency to the tyranny of the immediate. Breaking the chains, the path to freedom starts with a simple but profound realization. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are not your circumstances. You are the consciousness that observes all these things. This isn't New Age mysticism. This is practical psychology that the Stoics discovered through rigorous self-examination. Epictetus, who knew actual slavery, taught that we're all slaves to something: our desires, our fears, our opinions of others. He said, "No one is free who is not master of himself." But mastery doesn't mean suppression. It means understanding. When anger arises, you don't fight it, you observe it. When fear appears, you don't run, you examine it. When desire pulls you, you don't automatically follow, you question it. This is where the real work begins. Not in grand gestures or dramatic changes, but in the moment-to-moment choices that shape your character. Do you reach for your phone first thing in the morning, or do you reach for your journal? Do you react to provocation with anger, or do you respond with measured wisdom? Do you complain about obstacles, or do you see them as training? The Stoics developed specific practices for this transformation. They called it philosophical therapy. Practical exercises that rewire your default responses. Morning reflection to set intentions, evening review to learn from the day, negative visualization to appreciate what you have, voluntary discomfort to build resilience. These aren't just activities, they're reconditioning programs for your mind. But let's be honest about something most self-help content won't tell you. This is hard. Really hard. Your brain has spent years, maybe decades, developing its current patterns. Your neural pathways are like rivers that have carved deep channels. Redirecting them isn't a matter of positive thinking or motivation, it's a matter of consistent, deliberate practice over time. The good news? Every small victory compounds. Every time you choose response over reaction, you strengthen your agency. Every time you act according to your values instead of your impulses, you build character. Every time you focus on what you control instead of what you don't, you increase your power. The dichotomy of control. This is the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, the concept that changes everything once you truly understand it. Epictetus taught that everything in life falls into two categories: things we control and things we don't. We control our judgments, decisions, desires, and actions. We don't control outcomes, other people, our reputation, our body, or external events. Simple, right? But think about how you actually live. How much energy do you waste trying to control what others think of you? How much anxiety comes from trying to guarantee outcomes? How much frustration stems from expecting the world to conform to your preferences? You're essentially trying to hold back the ocean with your hands, then wondering why you're exhausted and wet. The dichotomy of control isn't about giving up ambition or becoming passive. It's about investing your energy where it actually makes a difference. You don't control whether you get the job, but you control how well you prepare for the interview. You don't control whether someone loves you, but you control how you show up in the relationship. You don't control whether you get sick, but you control how you respond to illness. This principle alone can eliminate 90% of your suffering, not pain. The Stoics acknowledge that pain is inevitable, but suffering, which comes from resisting reality, wanting things to be different than they are, fighting against what has already happened. Pain is getting rejected. Suffering is spending months replaying the rejection and wondering what you did wrong. Pain is losing money. Suffering is letting that loss define your self-worth. Marcus Aurelius faced plagues, wars, betrayal by trusted friends, the death of children. Any one of these would devastate most people. But he wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." He understood that suffering multiplies when we add the weight of the past and the fear of the future to the challenges of the present. Deal with what's in front of you. That's all you ever have to handle. The architecture of character isn't built in grand moments of heroism. It's constructed in the countless small decisions that nobody sees. Do you keep your word when it's inconvenient? Do you tell the truth when a lie would be easier? Do you maintain your principles when they cost you something? These are the bricks of character laid one by one, day after day. The Stoics identified 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. Everything else, wealth, fame, pleasure, even health, they considered preferred indifference. Nice to have, but not necessary for a good life. This isn't about rejecting success or comfort. It's about recognizing that these things are extras, not essentials. The person who needs luxury to be happy is enslaved to luxury. The person who can be happy without it is free. Wisdom isn't just knowledge, it's the application of knowledge to live well. It's knowing the difference between what matters and what doesn't, between what's possible and what isn't, between what helps and what harms. In our age of information overload, wisdom is more crucial than ever. We don't need more data. We need better judgment about how to use the data we have. Justice isn't just legal fairness, it's treating every person with the dignity they deserve as a human being. It's recognizing that we're all part of the same human family, struggling with the same fundamental challenges. The Stoics believed we're social creatures, designed to help each other. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee," your individual. Flourishing is inseparable from the flourishing of your community. Courage isn't just physical bravery, it's the strength to do what's right when it's difficult. It's speaking truth when lies are safer. It's standing alone when the crowd is wrong. It's facing your fears instead of running from them. Most importantly, it's the courage to change, to admit you've been wrong, to start over as many times as necessary. Temperance isn't about deprivation. It's about balance. It's enjoying pleasure without becoming enslaved to it. It's pursuing success without sacrificing your soul for it. It's the discipline to stop when you've had enough, to say no when everyone else says yes, to maintain your center when the world tries to pull you off balance. The present moment revolution. Here's a truth that will shake you. The past doesn't exist except as memory, and memory is just present moment thinking about things that aren't here anymore. The future doesn't exist except as imagination, and imagination is just present moment thinking about things that haven't happened yet. The only thing that has ever existed, does exist, or will ever exist is this moment. Yet how do you spend this moment? reliving past failures, rehearsing future conversations, scrolling through other people's curated highlights. You're literally trading the only thing that's real for things that aren't. It's the worst exchange rate in the universe. Infinite value for zero return. The Stoics understood that presence isn't just a spiritual nice to have. It's the foundation of effectiveness. When you're fully present, you see clearly. When you see clearly, you act wisely. When you act wisely, you get better results. Presence isn't about meditation retreats or enlightenment. It's about showing up fully to whatever you're doing. Watch a master craftsman work. They're not thinking about their next project or their last mistake. They're completely absorbed in the wood, the metal, the clay in front of them. That's why their work is excellent. Excellence isn't about talent or resources. It's about presence. The fully present person with average abilities will outperform the distracted genius every time. But presence requires practice, especially in our age of infinite distraction. Your phone is designed to fragment your attention. Social media is engineered to keep you everywhere except here. The news cycle creates a sense of urgent emergency about things happening thousands of miles away, while you ignore the life happening right in front of you. Start small. When you eat, just eat. Taste the food, feel the texture, notice the temperature. When you walk, just walk. Feel your feet hit the ground, notice your breathing, observe the world around you. When someone talks to you, just listen. Don't prepare your response, don't check your phone, don't let your mind wander. Be there. This isn't about perfection. Your mind will wander thousands of times. That's not failure, that's practice. Every time you notice your mind has drifted and bring it back, you're building mental muscle. You're developing the meta skill that underlies all other skills, the ability to direct your attention where you choose. The obstacle becomes the way. This principle will revolutionize how you see problems. The Stoics believed that obstacles aren't barriers to the good life. They're the path to it. Every challenge is a chance to develop virtue. Every setback is an opportunity to build resilience. Every failure is data for your next attempt. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This isn't toxic positivity or pretending problems don't exist. It's recognizing that problems are the gymnasium where character is built. You don't become strong by lifting light weights. You don't become wise by facing easy choices. You don't become courageous by avoiding fear. Think about the worst thing that's happened to you. Now think about who you became because of it. The strength you developed, the empathy you gained, the perspective you earned. Would you really trade that growth for an easier path? The obstacle didn't just teach you lessons. It transformed you into someone capable of handling obstacles. This mindset shift changes everything. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you ask, "What can I learn from this?" Instead of saying, "This shouldn't be happening," you say, "This is happening, now what?" Instead of wasting energy on resistance, you invest energy in response. But here's the advanced level. Start seeking obstacles. Not masochistically, but strategically. If public speaking terrifies you, join Toastmasters. If conflict makes you uncomfortable, practice difficult conversations. If failure paralyzes you, start a project with a high chance of failure. The things you avoid are precisely the things that will grow you the most. The modern world has made us soft. We avoid discomfort at all costs. We outsource every difficulty to technology or other people. We've created a comfort bubble that's actually a growth prison. The Stoics knew that comfort is the enemy of growth. That's why they practiced voluntary hardship, cold baths, sleeping on hard surfaces, fasting. Not as punishment, but as training. The daily practice revolution knowledge without action is impotent. You can read every Stoic text, watch every video, understand every concept, and still be exactly where you are now. The difference between philosophy and self-help isn't the ideas, it's the practice. The Stoics didn't just think about these principles, they lived them daily. Start your morning with Marcus Aurelius's practice. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, "The people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." This isn't pessimism, it's preparation. When people act badly, you're not surprised or thrown off balance. You're ready with patience and understanding. Before you check your phone, spend 5 minutes in reflection. What kind of person do you want to be today? What virtues will you practice? What temptations will you resist? This isn't goal setting, it's character setting. You're programming your internal GPS before you start driving. Throughout the day, practice the discipline of perception. When something happens, pause before you label it good or bad. It's just what happened. Your judgment about it is separate and optional. Traffic isn't terrible, it's cars moving slowly. Your boss isn't unfair, they made a decision you disagree with. This isn't about becoming emotionless, it's about choosing your emotions consciously instead of having them chosen for you. Practice the discipline of action. Before you do anything, ask, is this necessary? Most of what fills our days isn't. It's busy work, distraction, procrastination, disguised as productivity. The Stoics believed in doing less, but doing it better. Quality over quantity, depth over breadth, completion over starting. End your day with Seneca's practice. Review what you did, what you didn't do, and what you could have done better. This isn't self-flagellation, it's self-improvement. You're gathering data for tomorrow's experiment in living well. What triggered you? What patterns do you notice? What would the ideal version of you have done differently? But here's the crucial part, be gentle. Capability then you've tested. The question isn't whether you can grow, it's whether you will. Will you choose the discomfort of growth over the comfort of stagnation? Will you face your fears or let them fence you in? Will you do what's necessary or what's easy? These choices, made daily, determine the trajectory of your life. The action imperative, here's where everything comes together. Philosophy without action is just intellectual entertainment. Ideas without implementation are just mental decoration. Wisdom without practice is just sophisticated procrastination. The Stoics were philosophers of action, believing that virtue must be lived, not just understood. But action doesn't mean constant motion. It means aligned motion. Every action should serve your principles. Every effort should move you toward virtue. Every decision should reflect your values. This isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters with complete commitment. Start where you are. You don't need perfect conditions, complete knowledge, or guaranteed success. You need to begin. The path reveals itself through walking, not thinking about walking. The lessons come through doing, not planning to do. The strength comes through lifting, not reading about lifting. But here's what stops most people. The gap between where they are and where they want to be seems insurmountable. They see the mountain peak and forget that every climber starts with a single step. They see the master's skill and forget the thousands of hours of practice. They see the end result and forget the messy process. The Stoics understood that transformation is incremental. Marcus Aurelius didn't become wise overnight. He practiced daily for decades. Epictetus didn't develop unshakable peace instantly. He built it through countless moments of choosing response over reaction. Seneca didn't achieve clarity suddenly. He earned it through consistent reflection and examination. Your transformation will be the same. Not a lightning bolt, but a gradual dawn. Not a revolution, but an evolution. Not a leap, but a series of steps. Each small choice compounds. Each tiny victory matters. Each moment of practice adds up. You're not just changing behaviors. You're rewiring your brain, rebuilding your character, reconstructing your life. The Community Challenge, one of the biggest obstacles to Stoic practice, is that you're swimming against the cultural current. Society rewards the opposite of Stoic virtues. It celebrates emotional volatility as passion. It glorifies busyness as productivity. It confuses consumption with success. It mistakes comfort for happiness. You'll be seen as strange for not complaining when everyone else is. You'll be considered cold for not joining the outrage mob. You'll be labeled boring for finding contentment in simplicity. You'll be called unambitious for prioritizing character over achievement. The crowd will try to pull you back to mediocrity because your growth highlights their stagnation. This is why the Stoics emphasized finding like-minded people, not to create an echo chamber, but to create accountability. You need people who will call you on your excuses, Challenge your rationalizations, support your growth. You need models who embody what you're trying to become. You need peers who are on the same journey, but here's the paradox. To find your tribe, you must first become yourself. Authenticity attracts authenticity. Character recognizes character. When you live according to your principles, you naturally repel people who don't share them and attract people who do. Your growth becomes a beacon for others who are ready to grow. This doesn't mean cutting off everyone who isn't a Stoic. It means being intentional about your influences. Who do you spend the most time with? What voices do you allow in your head? What content do you consume? You become the average of your influences, so choose them carefully. The final challenge now comes the moment of truth. You've read thousands of words about Stoic philosophy. You understand the concepts. You see the path. But understanding isn't transformation. Knowledge isn't change. Inspiration isn't action. The question is, what will you do with what you've learned? Most people will finish this, feel motivated for a few hours, maybe even a few days, then slide back into their old patterns. The gravitational pull of habit is strong. The comfort of familiarity is seductive. The resistance to change is real, but you're not most people, or you wouldn't have read this far. You have a choice to make. You can treat this as entertainment, interesting ideas to think about but not act on. Or you can treat this as an intervention, a wake-up call that demands response. You can file this away with all the other content you've consumed, or you can use this as the catalyst for genuine transformation. The Stoics believed that the moment of decision is the moment of truth, not the decision you make tomorrow or next week or when conditions are right. The decision you make right now, because now is all you have. Now is all you've ever had. Now is all you'll ever have. Here's your first test. Before you click away, before you move on to the next thing, take one action. Write down one Stoic principle you'll practice today. Set one boundary you've been avoiding. Have one difficult conversation you've been postponing. Take one step toward who you want to become. This isn't about perfection. You'll fail. You'll forget. You'll fall back into old patterns. That's not weakness. That's humanity. The Stoics didn't expect perfection. They expected effort. They didn't demand success. They demanded attempt. They didn't require arrival. They required journey. The call to arms. This is your call to arms, but not against the world, against your own limitations. This is your invitation to greatness, but not external greatness, internal greatness. This is your challenge to change, but not to become someone else, to become who you really are. The Stoics understood something that modern society has forgotten, that the good life isn't about having more, but about needing less. It's not about controlling the world, but about controlling yourself. It's not about avoiding challenges, but about using them. It's not about suppressing emotions, but about choosing them consciously. You live in the most prosperous time in human history, with more opportunities, resources, and freedom than your ancestors could have imagined. Yet you're probably more anxious, distracted, and unfulfilled than they were. This isn't because you're weak or broken. It's because you're using Stone Age psychology to navigate Space Age complexity. Stoicism is your operating system upgrade. It's the philosophical framework that turns obstacles into opportunities, problems into training, suffering into strength. It's the mental model that successful people have been using for 2,000 years, whether they called it Stoicism or not. But here's the truth nobody wants to hear. The work is hard, really hard. Changing your mental patterns is like trying to redirect a river. Possible, but it requires sustained effort over time. There's no hack, no shortcut, no secret. There's just daily practice, consistent choice, gradual progress. The good news is that you don't have to do it alone. Marcus Aurelius had his philosophy teachers. Epictetus had his students. Seneca had his correspondents. You have access to their wisdom, plus modern interpretations, plus communities of practitioners. You have resources they could never have imagined. Your next move. If this resonated with you, if you feel that stirring of recognition, that mixture of excitement and fear that comes before real change, then take action now. Not tomorrow, not later, now. Subscribe to this channel for more deep dives into Stoic philosophy. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next breakthrough insight. But more importantly, commit to practice. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Not as preaching, but as invitation. Start a conversation about these ideas. Find others who are ready to grow. Create your own philosophical community, even if it's just two people meeting for coffee to discuss life. But remember, consuming content isn't practice. Watching videos isn't transformation. Understanding concepts isn't living them. The real work happens when you close this video and face your actual life. When you apply these principles to your real problems. When you practice these virtues in your actual relationships, the Stoics would ask you, if not now, when? If not you, who? You're waiting for perfect conditions that will never come. You're waiting for complete certainty that doesn't exist. You're waiting for someone to save you when you're the only one who can. Every moment you delay is a moment you've chosen your current life over your potential life. Every excuse is a decision to stay imprisoned. Every rationalization is a vote for mediocrity. You know this. Deep down, beneath all the noise and distraction and rationalization, you know what you need to do. The ancient Stoics faced plagues, wars, exile, slavery, and death. They built a philosophy that could withstand anything. You face different challenges: information overload, social media, consumer culture, modern anxiety. But the solution is the same: radical responsibility, disciplined action, principled living, chosen response. This is your moment. This is your call. This is your invitation to join a lineage of thinkers and doers who refuse to be victims of circumstance, who chose to be architects of their own character, who decided that external events might control their situation but would never control their response. Like this video, if it challenged you. Comment with the one action you're committing to take today. Subscribe for more content that doesn't just motivate but transforms. But most, with yourself. The Stoics weren't harsh taskmasters. They understood that change is gradual, that we're all works in progress, that perfection is impossible. The goal isn't to be perfect, it's to be a little better today than yesterday. The social fortress one of the biggest obstacles to growth is other people's opinions. We're social creatures wired to care what the tribe thinks. In ancestral times, social rejection meant death. But that ancient wiring is now hijacked by social media, turning us into approval addicts, constantly checking for likes, comments, validation. The Stoics had a radical solution. Build your self-worth internally, not externally. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "How much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does." This isn't about becoming antisocial. It's about becoming non-dependent. You can enjoy praise without needing it. You can consider criticism without being crushed by it. Think about whose opinions actually matter to you. Not in theory, but in practice. Whose judgment changes your behavior? Whose approval do you seek? Whose criticism do you fear? Now ask yourself, do these people embody the virtues you admire? Are they living the life you want to live? If not, why are you giving them power over your peace of mind? The truth is, most people are too busy worrying about what others think of them to think much about you. The spotlight effect makes us believe everyone is watching and judging, but they're not. They're dealing with their own struggles, their own insecurities, their own battles. Your embarrassing moment that keeps you up at night? Nobody else remembers it, but even if they did judge you, so what? Epictetus taught that someone's opinion of you is their business, not yours. You control your actions, not their reactions. You control your character, not your reputation. The person who needs everyone to like them will stand for nothing. The person who stands for something will inevitably upset someone. This doesn't mean being intentionally offensive or dismissive of feedback. It means developing an internal scorecard instead of an external one. Are you living according to your values? Are you treating people with justice? Are you acting with courage? Are you practicing wisdom? If yes, then others' opinions are just weather. Sometimes pleasant, sometimes unpleasant, but ultimately just passing conditions. The wealth paradox. Here's something that will challenge everything you've been taught about success. The Stoics believed that the wealthy person isn't the one who has the most, but the one who needs the least. This isn't about poverty being virtuous. It's about recognizing that every need is a chain. Every desire is a dependency. Every attachment is a vulnerability. Seneca was one of the richest men in Rome, but he regularly practiced poverty to ensure his wealth didn't own him. He understood that the person who can't be happy without wealth can't be happy with it either. They'll always fear losing it. The person who can be content with little has achieved something money can't buy: enough. This is particularly relevant in our consumer culture, where we're programmed to always want more. Bigger house, better car, newer phone, more followers. We're running on a hedonic treadmill, working harder and harder just to stay in the same place emotionally. The Stoics stepped off the treadmill entirely, but this isn't about rejecting ambition or success. It's about pursuing them for the right reasons. Do you want wealth for freedom or for status? Do you want success to contribute or to dominate? Do you want achievement for growth or for validation? The external results might look the same, but the internal experience is completely different. The Stoic approach to wealth is to treat it like you treat a hotel room. Use it, enjoy it, take care of it, but don't get attached to it because it's not really yours. Everything you have is on loan from fortune. Your money, your possessions, even your body. The only thing that's truly yours is your character, your choices, your response to what happens. This perspective eliminates both greed and fear. You can pursue wealth without being consumed by it. You can enjoy success without being corrupted by it. You can lose everything without being destroyed by it. The Stoics called this preferred indifference. You prefer wealth to poverty, health to sickness, but your well-being doesn't depend on getting your preferences. The relationship revolution. The Stoics had a counterintuitive approach to relationships. The best way to have good relationships is to need nothing from them. This isn't about being cold or distant. It's about coming from fullness instead of emptiness, contribution instead of need, love instead of dependency. Most relationship problems stem from unmet expectations. We expect others to make us happy, to complete us, to validate us. When they inevitably fail, because these are impossible jobs, we feel betrayed, disappointed, resentful. We're essentially making other people responsible for our emotional state, then getting upset when they don't deliver. The Stoic approach is to take complete responsibility for your own emotional well-being, then engage with others from that stable foundation. You don't need anyone to make you happy. You choose to share your happiness with them. You don't need anyone to complete you. You choose to complement each other. You don't need anyone to validate you. You choose to appreciate their perspective. This creates a paradox. The less you need from relationships, the more you get from them. When you're not desperately grabbing for love, love comes naturally. When you're not demanding respect, respect is freely given. When you're not forcing connection, connection happens organically. But this requires doing your own work first. You can't give what you don't have. You can't love others if you hate yourself. You can't be present for someone else if you're not present for yourself. You can't have healthy boundaries if you don't know where you end and others begin. The Stoics believed in universal brotherhood, that all humans are part of one community, one family. Marcus Aurelius, despite dealing with betrayals and disappointments, wrote, "Whenever you want to cheer yourself, consider the good qualities of your companions." He chose to focus on people's virtues rather than their vices, their potential rather than their failures. The time revolution: if someone stole your money, you'd be outraged. But people steal your time every day and you let them. Worse, you steal your own time, frittering it away on things that don't matter, postponing what does matter. Living as if you had unlimited tomorrows, Seneca wrote extensively about time, calling it the only true wealth. Money can be earned back. Possessions can be replaced. Even health can sometimes be recovered. But time, every second that passes is gone forever. You're literally spending your life right now. What are you buying with it? The Stoics practiced negative visualization. imagining loss before it happens. Not to be morbid, but to be grateful. Imagine you have 1 year to live. What would you do differently? Who would you spend time with? What would suddenly become unimportant? Now realize, you might actually have only 1 year, or 1 month, or 1 day. You don't know. This isn't about creating anxiety. It's about creating urgency. Not frantic urgency, but focused urgency. The urgency to live according to your values now, not someday. The urgency to tell people you love them now, not later. The urgency to start that project now, not when conditions are perfect. But here's what's tricky. While time is scarce, hurrying is counterproductive. The Stoics believed in acting with deliberate speed, moving quickly but thoughtfully, efficiently but not frantically. The person who rushes through life arrives at death having never really lived. The person who dawdles through life arrives at death with a long list of regrets. The sweet spot is full engagement. When you work, work completely. When you rest, rest completely. When you're with someone, be with them completely. Half attention to twice as many things accomplishes less than full attention to half as many things. Multitasking isn't efficiency, it's dilution. The growth imperative comfort is death in slow motion. Every living thing is either growing or dying. There's no steady state. The moment you stop challenging yourself, you start declining. Your muscles atrophy without resistance. Your mind dulls without stimulation. Your character weakens without tests. The Stoics believed in continuous self-improvement, but not from a place of inadequacy. You're not broken and need fixing. You're a seed that needs watering. The oak tree isn't better than the acorn. It's just more fully expressed. Your job isn't to become someone else. It's to become more fully yourself. But growth requires discomfort. Learning means admitting ignorance. Improving means acknowledging imperfection. Changing means letting go of who you were. Most people choose familiar misery over unfamiliar possibility. They'd rather stay in a prison they know than venture into a freedom they don't. The Stoics had a practice called premeditatio malorum, imagining things going wrong. What if you lose your job? What if your relationship ends? What if you get sick? This isn't pessimism, it's preparation. By facing your fears mentally, you reduce their power over you. By planning for setbacks, you're not devastated when they occur, but there's a deeper level to this practice. It's not just about preparing for external challenges, it's about recognizing that you can handle them. You've survived every worst day of your life so far. You've overcome challenges that once seemed impossible. You have more strength than you realize, more resilience than you know, more importantly, close this video and start practicing. Because philosophy without action is just sophisticated procrastination. The Stoics are waiting for you to join them. Not in some afterlife, but in this life. Not through belief, but through practice. Not by following, but by embodying. They've left you the blueprint. They've shown you the path. They've proven it works. Now it's your turn, your move, your choice. Will you remain a slave to circumstance, or will you become master of yourself? Will you continue drifting, or will you take the helm? Will you keep consuming, or will you start creating? Will you stay comfortable, or will you grow? The answer you give, not in words but in actions, will determine the rest of your life. Choose wisely. Choose courageously. Choose now. Because as Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journal, never expecting anyone else to read it. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for? The things I was brought into the world to do. Or is this what I was created for? To huddle under the blankets and stay warm? Your warm blankets are calling. So is your greatness. Which will you choose? The Stoics are watching. History is recording. Your future self is waiting. Make them proud. Grow. Start acting. Focus only on changing your life. The revolution begins now. The revolution begins with you. Welcome to the practice. Welcome to the path. Welcome to your new life. Now go live it.